Alright, this is going to be a test video blog. What I'm doing is, this is the beginning of a project for me. I'm going to be creating a arcade cabinet. A lot of people call them Mame boxes. It's like multi-arcade machine emulator or something. The whole point is to be able to build an arcade cabinet that plays, like, not only does it play the classic arcade games, but it'll play, Sega games, Nintendo games, N64 games, pretty much like anything that I can, anything that's possible, it'll play, like just the ultimate, arcade, like literally, arcade machine, stand up. What I want to do is build a 4-player arcade machine. And I know it's going to take a while. I'm actually going to build it out of wood, paint it, put designs on it. It's going to look really cool. It's going to have 4 joysticks, 6 buttons a player. This is my plan right now anyway. There's a lot going on with it. I'm going to use the hyperspin front end, which is the software that'll let me, basically it's a computer that's going to be running all this, if you can't assume that already. So I'm going to be running hyperspin. I'm trying to document this while it's all fresh in my mind from 2 days of research. Hyperspin front end, which is going to let me access all the games. It's going to have the game selection menu, a lot of nice artwork. I got to go through a website. They have a bunch of FLV files, which are video files, of like all the games. So when you're going through your game selection menu, which is really nice already, and you hover over a game, it'll play like a little video of that game. So that's my goal, is to get those. I only have 250 megabytes a day of artwork that I can download per game, but I have to donate to a site to be able to access their FTP to get all that cool stuff. I've done a lot of research on people building on YouTube their own arcade cabinets. There's a lot of ugly ones, there's a lot of nice ones, but what I've taken from all of them is, the best ones I've seen use hyperspin. A lot of people go for that old CRT look. I'm not really going to do that because a CRT monitor for me is difficult to find. It's 2012. I probably could find one on the side of the street, but honestly, I'd rather run a 1080p flat screen than a CRT. Not only because of weight, because I'm considering my arcade cabinet, I don't want it to be like super heavy, like real top heavy thanks to a big CRT monitor. I don't want to do that. And also because of power consumption, I think, don't quote me on it, but I think that an LCD screen is more power efficient than a CRT monitor. So that's my planning process. I will use, if I had to say it in words, like what it's going to be, the final product, I don't know. But I think that I want to have it a 4-player cabinet, and I want to have, a large screen, but I don't want it to be like, because it's a 4-player cabinet, I don't want it to be like really hard for the corner players to really see the screen. So I might I want to find a way that, it's not bad for those players. The 2 middle players will be just fine. I don't want to do like a tilt. A lot of older arcade cabinets do a tilt. Now this is going to be, I know I'm building an arcade cabinet, but I'm not going to make it super retro. I like the style of the retro, don't get me wrong. CRT monitor, all the old retro fonts. This is going to be like a modern arcade cabinet, so I want to have, my HD screen. Because the thing about my front end hyperspin is, I can crank up the resolution. It looks really crisp. I've seen examples of high resolution hyperspin running, and it just looks really great. I've actually seen it in real life. I was at I forget where I was at. It was a store, and they actually had an arcade cabinet for sale, no crap, hyperspin on it, and this was years ago. I didn't even know what it was. I thought it was the most amazing thing. I didn't even believe, I was like, is this legal? Yes. And obviously a lot of it, So it was crazy that they had one for sale, that's a big illegal move right there, If you're going to run an arcade cabinet like this, and all the software, they were selling it for like $2,000 or something, that arcade cabinet, and I'll tell you, that's, you think about it, it's actually good value if you consider what you're getting. At the same time, it is illegal for you to make profit off of those software titles, so my arcade cabinet isn't going to charge. I might have a coin slot feeder on it. It's unlikely, because I'm going to create coin buttons or whatever, like to insert coin, you push the button. And then, I might put a coin slot on there just for looks, basically. It won't, I might not do it because I might want to save myself a few $100. I was looking at 4-player coin slots, and they were running around $150, $170. I didn't want to do that, especially if it's unnecessary, and that front part where the coin slot would be on kind of below the control panel with all your joysticks and stuff. That front part I could utilize. I saw one guy made a cabinet. He had a plexiglass window with a cool stuff on the inside. Probably the actual computer components you could see with lights. I thought that would be kind of cool to do. I want it. I'm trying to think of a name for it too, because a lot of people name theirs Mame. I forget what they call it. The top part, it's like Marquis, or I don't know how to say it. Sorry guys. The top part, a lot of people name it I saw one that was Rainy Days. That was a really professional, clean one. I'm not going to go that direction. I saw a few that are a little bit more retro, like Mame. I can't really name it, but I don't want to name it anything really retro. And if you know anything about me, I host my fifthDread.com website. I go by the name of Fifth Dread, so I want it to be Fifth Dreadish, and I want it to have a Fifth Dreadish theme. But maybe I'll stray away from that and make it into something else. I don't know. This is the beginning. I'm just kind of brainstorming. Let's see how long this video is. Okay. So let's recap. 4 players, big screen. Oh yeah, and one thing I saw. With 4-player cabs, like I said, the corner players, I don't want them to be hunched over the screen, they can't see from those angles. A bigger screen helps. The screen, the further back it helps, because their perspective is no longer at an angle, it's more dead on, sort of like a family on a couch. Nobody's really getting a super angle because the TV's so far away. I saw that, and honestly, it's just too big. I know the arcade cabinet's going to be wide already because of the fact you got a wide control panel for 4 players. And honestly, I thought it looked less tacky to have that. It had a bottom extension, and it rose up, and then it had the screen kind of further back, and I thought that looked less tacky. At the same time, I didn't like it because it's just too much room. If I'm going to have this in a gaming room somewhere in a house, I don't want to have that much room being taken up by this thing. I mean, it's going to take up a lot of room, but if I can fit it in a corner with, the boxed components about the width of the TV, and then the control panel, which will actually stick out, so it won't, the control panel portion won't be in the corner, like the back end will. So I think that it'll fit better in a corner if I do it that way. At the same time, I don't want to put it in a corner because I want to have the side artwork on there. I'm going to probably go to a print shop I'm going to draft a design, go to a print shop, and get like laminate printed, stick it on the side. I'll figure it out, but I want artwork to be on the side. And to do that, I want the sides to be visible because that's going to be one of the cooler parts. I'm going to do artwork on the front and stuff too, but I want, and the artwork, this is another thing I was saying, I don't want to go super retro. I want to go more modern. I might go arcade style. I saw one cabinet, it was like, wow. A guy did it for his tattoo shop, and it was like, holy shit. Excuse my language, but it was like custom artwork all over the thing, on top of the control panel, on the sides, on the front of the control panel, on the front of the actual thing. That's the one I was telling you, it had the window open. So it was really awesome. So I was like, oh man, like I could do something just like that. Just change the artwork though to my own. And I might get the help of a few friends that are art talented. I know a few people. But at the same time, I want to go for an overall theme that I think that I can, I think that'll work with this cabinet. And I think that, it's going to be an awesome project. I just started yesterday, honestly. I didn't even know this was possible until I did some YouTube searches of custom arcade cabinets. And I saw that a commonality taking place. Everyone was using these iPacks, which basically it's an interface that lets you have your buttons. Your buttons connect to the iPack, and the iPack connects to your computer with USB. And I was like, oh wow, maybe this will work. And then I learned about front ends, and I was like, oh man, front ends, they connect to all your emulators. You can run more than just Mame. You could run an N64 emulator, you could run a Sega, a Nintendo, a Dreamcast, all kinds of stuff. I probably could get a GameCube, a few select GameCube games, like Super Smash Brothers or something, maybe even a Wii game, Super Smash Brothers Brawl, because honestly, you could get 6 buttons, a joystick, and you could play Brawl. So, that's like a big deal for me. I was like, oh man, this front end. So basically, the user, they come over, they sit at the cabinet, they insert coins, they select, well, they don't actually insert coins, they select games first. So they go and they choose their, gaming platform. Do you want to play on an arcade machine? Do you want to play a Nintendo game or even a Game Boy Advance game? You could, So they choose their game, and then if the game requires coins, they can insert coin, they can start, they can play with 4 players, they can go back to the menu and choose another game. It's just so cool. And I'm super excited about it. So anyway, this is going to be the end. It's like 15 minutes, 13 minutes. I'll ramble more about it later. Things I covered in this episode, like I said, overall design plans, 4 players, big screen. I want the perspective to not be too bad for the corner players. Whether or not that means pushing the cabinet back or moving the screen back or figuring out a good format for that. And I want it to be a tall cabinet, sort of like the size of a normal arcade machine, 4 players. And I want it to run, a good front end. I forget what it's called now. Yeah. And I want it to have every emulator I can, and I want it to be professional. Not only in hardware, but software too. So when a player comes up, I don't want them hitting games that don't have artwork, or hitting games that are half emulated, don't work properly. So it's going to take a lot of software configuring, getting out all the pieces in place, all the emulators, all the stuff. But I have a large collection, so I think that will be good. Anyway, this is FitDread from FitDread.com. If you're interested in following my progress, you can go to FitDread.com, go to the blog section, and I'm going to create a blog based on my experience building an arcade cabinet. Alright guys, thanks.